So, welcome everybody. Happy Tuesday. So happy that those of you who are here have come to join us for our first small campus Big Ford event. My name's Sam Bishop. I'm part of the University Relations and Recruiting team here at Ford Motor Company. And I am so thankful to have my three panelists here with me today. Malin Kulkarni, Najina Wheeler, and Jasmine Holloway. Can't wait to have you guys introduce yourselves and talk more with our attendees about our educational backgrounds and being here, proud Ford Motor Company employees. This event's kind of a passion project of mine. I went to a small school for my undergraduate, and I always felt like I didn't know how to get into a big company like Ford or other big companies that I may have wanted to work at. And I'm so glad I finally found my way here to Ford Motor Company. And I'd love for other students to not feel that there is that barrier there, that you are always welcome at Ford Motor Company, no matter where you got your degree from. We're so excited to welcome students through our doors for our internships and our full-time opportunities. So just wanted to kick it off with that, and I'd love to have each of our panelists introduce themselves. Melinda, you're at the top of my screen, so why don't you kick us off? Can you tell us a little bit about how you got to your current position, how you got to Ford, and of course, your educational background?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I was going to say ladies first, but I think I'm in minority here right now, so I'll go first. Um, yeah, so my background, you're talking about small schools. How about schools which are from India, not even on the map here to the US, right? So I actually graduated with my bachelor's degree in India, and I was hired in Ford in 2008. And then I actually went to Detroit Mercy for my master's program. Um, so I wouldn't say that that actually helped me get a job in Ford, but what that helped me was get different rotations, get different experiences within Ford. And in my current role, I am a engineering supervisor for e-motors, e-drive, which is really exciting work at Ford and any auto industry for that matter, right? Working in electrification world. So that's what my team does, and we are very proud design and engineers of the first in-house e-motor that we manufacture at Van Dyke, and very local. Everything is so proudly made here in Detroit. So that's what my team delivers. I'm very excited to be part of Ford's electrification future.
Thank you so much. I'm excited for the electrification revolution. So, really great that you're a part of that here at Ford. Najina, you're next on my screen. Please introduce yourself to our attendees.
Awesome. Well, everyone, Gina Wheeler for Motor Company. I'm happy to say I'm a graduate of Grand Valley State University. I have my Bachelor's of Science in Engineering degree with an emphasis in manufacturing engineering. So I have been with Ford for 20 years. And how I got here, I actually had a couple of jobs in the software industry. I was in application engineering, programming CNC machines. And then after that, I had some other connections with the foam industry, with the seating and quality, and I made my way to Ford. So I am happy to be here. I look forward to a long journey, hopefully continuing efforts in the electrical in industry. And welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us.
So glad you could be part of this, Najina. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Jasmine, so glad you are here.
Thank you. Hi, guys. My name is Jasmine Holloway. I am a recent graduate of Clark Atlanta University, and my path towards Ford was I actually got an internship my junior year of college, and that was when the pandemic first started. So that was Ford's first remote internship and just putting everything remotely in place. And that was my first internship for undergrad. Ford did great. They still made it a personable internship interaction. I still got my hands on projects that kind of got me into what I would be doing full time for the company and things that I'm like interested in or kind of had curiosity in. And then the next year, my senior year, I was able to secure a full time position in a program called Ford's College Graduate Program, which is a program that Ford has to expand to newly college graduates to allow them to become implemented within the company full time, but over a period of 2 to 3 years, you get to do different rotations. So my first year, I'm a software engineer on the storage service team, and I get to do a lot of front end and back end web development. Then I have 2 more amazing years in this rotation to go and see what other roles that I may be interested in before I roll off as a Ford graduate and go into one solidified full time position. So it's been great so far. I started back in July, and Ford has done a great job in handling this pandemic and still making sure that we as employees know that we are one, and that we are still trying to work through this to make sure that we're still doing work that is valuable and that we enjoy. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm ready for the questions you guys have.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. And thank you, all our panelists. We're so excited that you are here. Jasmine, you touched on something I would definitely want to talk about, which is our Ford College Graduates Program, our internship program. I know we had a lot of questions about those. I do want to say we post our internship and Ford College graduate positions in September. So please visit careers.ford.com come September timeframe. You can see those postings that are there. We have some amazing internship experiences. I'm glad to hear Jasmine had an amazing internship experience with us as well. So look to welcome our class of 2022, 2023, et cetera, et cetera. Plan to have interns for quite a while. So no matter where you are in school, please do look to Ford when you are ready for internship and full-time experiences. We had a question from a student that was submitted beforehand from North Carolina A&T. I'd love to have our panelists answer. Is your current job something you thought you'd be doing when you graduated? Jasmine, do you want to get us started off with that?
Yeah, so since I am a recent college grad, honestly, the role I'm in, which is software engineer, is a role that I thought I would be in post graduation. I really, during my matriculation at Clark, our department, our computer science department, was very, small department. So we were tight knit, and I was able to kind of get a hand in a lot of different roles and opportunities, and kind of see what I liked and I didn't like. And I knew that I love coding, I love programming, I love being on the forefront of creating and developing. So I knew that software engineering was definitely something that was a good possibility of being my next and first kind of career role starting with Ford.
That's awesome. Glad you're able to find what what you wanted to do here at Ford Motor Company. All right, Najina, I saw you smile when I asked this question. Is this what you thought you'd be doing when you graduated from Grand Valley?
You know what? I absolutely love and chuckle at this question because absolutely not. My current role now is a material cost manager. And working with program management and all the buyers coming from Grand Valley as a manufacturing engineer graduate, I figured, hey, I'll be working in the plants, working on buildings, vehicles, and watching them go through the assembly lines. Now, part of my career was that, but because of the networking I made and all the things that I learned, it allowed me to have an opportunity to come to the commercial side, a side I would have never thought I'll be doing after graduating. So I appreciate my time and what I'm doing now.
Always fun to see where your career leads, right?
Absolutely.
So, Melinda, I guess this question's kind of two-tiered for you. Did you expect to be doing what you're doing now when you finished your undergraduate? And then also when you finished your master's degree, did you think you would end up doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the line that I was thinking how to answer this question, because when I started in the company with my bachelor's degree, with my mechanical engineering background, I knew that I wanted to work in engines. That's where I spent most of my career. I really like doing that, and that is what I expected to do. To work. I mean, not to go in too much details of technicality, but wanted to work in how the engines operate and how I can efficiently make them better, things like that, which I was able to do in my engine career. And then as I took my master's degree and all the coursework that I completed, it actually gave me very good exposure to the business side also, which helped me go through, like Nagina mentioned, the business aspect of the company. How does this company work? Not just design parts and make parts and ship it, right? That's not how it works. There is purchasing involved, there is manufacturing plants involved, there is a lot of business activity that's involved, and that aspect and that exposure I was able to get because of my master's degree. And I want to say I was very fortunate after my master's that I was able to rotate within a lot of different organizations to see how this company works. It's a big company, but at the end of the day, it's a one small family, if you will, and you get to see so many people across that you cross path and you build network, like Nagina mentioned, uh, over a period of time, and that really helped um, in my past job. Now, this job that I'm doing, electrification, I certainly did not think that I would be doing this, but because who thought in 20 or maybe 20 years ago that everything will be electrified and will be spending what $11 billion of investment in electrification? That's huge. That's a really exciting work. And even though my degree is in mechanical engineering, I'm learning quickly on electrical side and making sure that how I deliver these new quality products. So I guess yes and no is the answer, right? So to begin my career, I really started where I wanted to, and now I'm moving more into business and electrification.
I think that's so fun to see where we started and where we are now. And then, like you mentioned, Melinda, the future, where we're going, that
Yeah.
electrification future is I'm very excited about whenever we get new news about that. So thank you all for sharing that. I wanted to ask you next about the education that you received at the small schools, and how it, at least so my experience being in a small school, I got a lot of face-to-face time with my professors. I was in small class sizes. How do you all feel that that small school experience in your education prepared you for working at such a large company? Ford's huge. I think we talked before this, the between the four of us, we're in 3 different states. This is a huge company. How do you feel that that small school experience and education prepared you for working in such a large company? Najina, we haven't started with you yet. Let's start with you.
Yeah, sounds awesome. So, when I look at that question and I think about the experience I had at Grand Valley State, I really truly appreciate the requirement we had to do co-op, because working in a co-op position forced us to go into those industries. And I was in a great position to where I actually worked for a handful of family-owned companies at that time. So talking, gaining mentorships, learning the business truly set me in a better place when I got the opportunity to work for Ford Motor Company and coming to another family-owned company. Um, Great experience. I can never, emphasize that much to take the opportunity, try to do internships if you can through your teachings at your schools. It'll definitely make a difference.
That's really great that you had those experiences in school. I think that that's a huge benefit of internship and co-op. We had required internships as well. I think that's wonderful schools are doing that. Jasmine, would you like to answer the question next?
Yeah, so just like Najina was talking about, at Clark Atlanta, so we had something every year, so a big career fair, which gave us the ample opportunity to meet with companies, be more exposed to every every different aspect of what company has to deal with in retrospects to the IT industry. I should always think of, when you think of IT, you think of like the Googles, the Amazon. You don't realize, there's a little bit of technology in every aspect. As automotive industry, and education, it's tech is really taking over a lot of industries. So for one, I believe that my education allowed me to kind of be more open to exposure and to kind of seeing and being open to more new things. And also with it being a smaller department And being a more tight knit family, my education also helped me be more vocal. There was no way you were able to sit in a classroom and be quiet the whole semester, or not have one on ones with your professors, and not work in groups. And that atmosphere kind of transferred over to when I worked for Ford, because, like you said, it's a bigger company, but that aspect of, okay, Jasmine, you have to be vocal. Everyone's open to talk. The door is always open to vocalize what you like, what you don't like, see what is a good fit for you. And yeah, I do believe that there is an advantage to smaller schools, and just taking those like skills and soft skills that you kind of learned in undergrad or while you were at these schools, and definitely transferring it over to this company is definitely something that has stuck with me and helped me in the long run.
That's so that I hadn't thought about that, but that's so true. It's hard to be the quiet person in a class of, I don't know what your class size were. I had a lot of classes of 12. So if you're the quiet person in a class of 12, that's not going to go over as well as it
Yeah,
might have. Wow, my largest class was 50. So even then it was hard to be the quiet person in the class of 50.
right,
uh,
exactly.
Melind, what would you add to this?
So my program was slightly different in the sense that it was designed for experienced engineers, where I think it was designed by MIT and six other companies. We had a lot of professors, guest professors coming in from industry and talk about let's say Six Sigma was one of the topics, right? So there was a Six Sigma black belt from industry who would come in, and rather than spending time on statistical analysis of something, we would spend time on day-to-day issues that professor had and how he resolved those issues. So the next day we were able to come in and apply that in our job right away. So that was the best part about the program. Similarly, we went through a finance program, which gave me exposure to the business and financial aspect of it, right? So I was able to ask more meaningful questions because of that finance class, or even marketing class. Hey, why are we doing the way we are doing this thing? Similarly, organizational behavior, where you would spend more time on understanding people's sensitivity. Why is this group doing the way they are doing? So all those great exposures helped me understand overall business, how Ford Motor Company is run. So I think that was a really good benefit of having a smaller group, but a program that's run by industry, if you will, right? So it's more of an experience rather than learning books. So that was a great, really good thing about the masters in product development at Detroit Mercy, I think.
That's a really like hands-on approach too that you were able to get. That's a really cool
Yeah.
program that you've been a part of, Melind. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. So another question here for the panel. What advice would you give to students studying at your alma mater or alma maters? Who'd like to start with this? Melind, how about you?
Sure. So I think I can build off of the previous answer, right? So I would say, apart from your major, just make sure that you're working as if you're concerned about, hey, where is this automotive industry going to go? Because it's not just auto industry, or like Jasmine mentioned, there is technology in everything, right? So there are so many different areas within Ford that you can explore, and you can apply yourself to those, right? So just don't focus in one streamline um, work, if you will, or subject matter, if you will, right? So there will be a lot of different areas. For example, data analytics would be a really great topic to focus on, right? So apart from your major, just work on some other details which will help you bring into Ford, which will help you stand apart from rest of the group. And then once you land inside the company, inside Ford, the avenues and the opportunities are literally endless. right? You can go from places to places. You can go from one group to other group. You don't need to be in product development. You can go to, marketing if you want to. If you can go to purchasing, that's great, right? So those avenues will open up for you. I think you need to build yourself for, some basic foundation, but at the same time have different exposures to various different areas, what's happening in auto industry or in tech world, because it's going to be a service driven industry after all.
Yeah, I think we are definitely seeing that development of service as it applies to the technology. And Jasmine, with your education background, you may feel the same way, but what advice would you give to other students from Clark Atlanta?
I have for like two pieces of advice, and all this advice comes from personal experience and things that I had to learn. One with, like I say, coming from a smaller school, I always say, never count yourself out. I know with me, I know a lot of people got internships like the first 2 years of college. And I'm like, okay, it's a junior year. I don't have an internship yet. We're getting close to, people knowing what companies they may be with going to their senior year. And I was lucky enough to have someone who graduated from Clark that works at Ford come to our campus and talk to us about the opportunities and just give us more exposure to what we could have and what we could be a part of. And once I got out of my head that I have a chance on the same scale as someone from a larger school based off of my skill set and the confidence I have in myself and my ability, is when it was a shift in mindset for me that got me to where I am right now. And my second piece of advice would um, be open to becoming uncomfortable and just trying new things. I said I knew I wanted to be a software engineer going out of college, but there were different things that I wanted to do. So I know I wasn't as proficient in, programming and coding. So I was like, oh my gosh, like being in a software engineering role is, it's not going to be the easiest because I'm still developing. But without me taking that leap of faith, like I know I'm have a support, this is a learning opportunity. I'm going to be able to grow in this role that I'm not so comfortable in. It just is, it's been great. Like I've been growing. I've had a lot of support from not only my supervisor, but people within the company outside of my team, and still from people like old professors from my university. So yeah, I definitely would be more open to exploring your options. Like we've all been saying, technology is in everything now. So there's no bounds to what you could be a part of and what you can do in this industry.
Kind of going off that a little bit more, Jasmine, you mentioned like the growing and developing. Do you feel that the Ford College Graduate Program you're in, is that giving you a chance to grow in areas that maybe you didn't get a chance to learn about more in school? Or do you feel like it's more reinforcing and strengthening things that you learned while you were in school? Or is it both?
I think it's a little bit of both. That's why I was so ecstatic that not I haven't seen a lot of other companies that give current no recent graduates the opportunity to be a full-time employee, but still have that kind of flexibility to move around in roles to kind of develop and see, okay, do I like this more? Am I strong suit in this more? And it be okay. So I really love that Ford has this program. I recommend anyone that is graduating soon or close to graduating to look into the Ford College Graduate Program, because it's just amazing that I get to, like, this is only my first year. So I have at least 2 more years to be able to kind of go around the company and see where else I feel like I would be fit for. So yeah, I really do think it does strengthen the skills and abilities that I have now, but also allows me to kind of learn some new things along the way.
Thank you so much for letting me dig into your answer a little bit more. I
No
appreciate
problem.
that. All right, Najina, what advice would you give to students who are graduating from Grand Valley?
I would definitely say please get involved as you are completing your studies, doing those extracurricular activities, whether that's volunteerism, joining organizations specific to your career, or just something in a hobby or a passion that you love. Becoming well-rounded, building that character, building that network, reaching out, kind of touch base on what Melinda and Jasmine was saying, opening up to new platforms, being able to expand your mind and other job opportunities and fields to grow. I think just joining those extra organizations to lend that knowledge base would definitely set you apart moving for the next phase of your life.
I have to 100% agree on that networking part, extracurricular activities. I thought in my undergraduate experience, extracurriculars were so much fun and so huge. And that was a big part of how I formed the network that I still have with other graduates from my undergraduate. I don't know if I mentioned, I went to University of Evansville in Indiana. If there's any other aces on the line, I'd be really excited. But there's people I still talk to very regularly that I met through those extracurriculars, through volunteering, through professional organizations. So I just want to reinforce, Najeen. I think that's great advice for those who are in school and getting ready to graduate, just to really build those networks while you're in school. It's a great time to really find people who are going to support you and who you can support moving forward. So thank you for that advice. I think that's awesome. All right. We kind of touched on this a little bit, but I want to get into this more. What advice would you give to a student who's on the fence about either joining Ford or who's on the fence about the automotive industry as a whole? Jasmine had mentioned already, that there's a lot more tech in industries you might not expect. So let's start with Malind. What advice would you give to students about joining Ford or joining the automotive industry?
Okay, so joining automotive industry, I think the first thing comes to mind is, where is this industry going? Are we going to see more engines, or everything going to be electrified? Or when I say electrified, just keep in mind it still needs engine. We are not talking 100% BEV, right? Meaning 100% battery vehicles, right? So there will be some work that'll be done on engine side, meaning automotive, true automotive world, if you will. But apart from that, electrification is huge. There is embedded system, there is data analytics, right, which are not truly automotive areas, if you will, but still similar to any other tech industry. It's similar applications in automotive, right? So data analytics, as I mentioned, or big data, how to use the data that we have collected over a number of years, and use that for our making our customers' lives better. How that customer experience is improved because of that data, right? So all these are very exciting fields for me, even though that's not truly uh, you know a debatable automotive world, if you will, right? So people may think, automotive meaning either I'm doing something to the engine, or maybe designing bodies and things like that. But there is a lot more than that. There is a lot more, logistical challenges with the current situation. That's another huge challenge, and where you can contribute effectively. And that's bringing parts from the other side of the world to here more effectively. How can you make sure that happens flawlessly, and your supply is not interrupted, so that you can keep building vehicles, right? So there are a lot of other support organizations within the company where you can contribute also, right? Purchasing is another great example, right? So a designer can design a part, but somebody has to go that and buy it, right? And buy it at effective cost, right? So that we can be, at the end of the day, making money, right? So those aspects sometimes get forgotten, when we broadly speak of automotive industry, right? So that's where, if you and I'm going back to previous question, right? So expand the horizons, expand in other areas of this true automotive world, and you'll not regret that decision. There is a lot of excitement. I'll tell you one example. I designed a engine component, and when you open 2015 Mustang hood, you will see that component right there with my semi signature, if you will. That makes you feel great, right? That's something that you have accomplished when you see the product running on the road, and the product that is probably the most well, I would say second most expensive after your house, right? And you're helping to build it together. That's true excitement, and that's the excitement actually helps me get up in the morning and go to work. Well, go to work as in work from home these days, but uh, you know what I mean. That's the motivation that I have. So even within automotive industry, you will have ton of other opportunities. So please don't hesitate, jump in. There is tremendous exposure to tremendous opportunities to have.
Glad to hear you reiterate what I'm always telling students, which is Ford is more than just designing engines. Of course, we do design engines, as you've
Yeah,
illustrated, Malind, but we do
yeah,
so much more than that too.
absolutely.
Cool. Najina, would you add anything more to this conversation?
I would just like to touch on what Malin was stating about all the opportunities we have within Ford Motor Company. Because when you first think about automotive, you're like, okay, right, the engine, the car. But when I look at our awesome commercials, the activities we do, the things that we host, everything that the Ford family and our company's been involved in, from volunteering to supporting programs to now the IT, the electrification, fast forward data analysis, all the customer service, it's just an amazing platform of activity that you can get your hands on. So absolutely, for a motor company coming to the automotive industry, there's so much that you can do within that arena.
And there's going to be more in the future, right? We're just going to continue evolving. The future of mobility is within our hands. We're really excited to move forward with that. All right. So I want to get into a little more of the touchy feely here. What's your favorite part about working at Ford? What gets you excited about your job? Jasmine, do you want to start us off?
I think honestly, my favorite part has been I'm always raving about how Ford, in my opinion, has done a great job with still making the work personable with us being remote. So for me, me being a FCG, so Ford College graduate, we have a lot of events and outside like contests and virtual events. And I know that I'm not in Michigan. I'm actually, as you know, in Atlanta, but they still give opportunities to go out and volunteer in different places and mentor. So that's one of my favorite aspects right now, other than me doing work that I love to do and me being open to kind of rotate on projects that actually interested in based off of what I feel like my curiosity lands me. I love the honestly the tight knit family that we have. I honestly, like I said, I haven't even been here as an FCG for a year, and my team is my family, the company is my family, and it kind of you feel the atmosphere on day one that this definitely is a family oriented company with the events that they come out. Our meetings aren't boring meetings. We get business done, but it's still an open forum to how's your week going, events, how's the holidays. So yeah, I love the atmosphere in this company. I really do, because when you're in a company and you're doing work that doesn't feel like work, is where you know you're in the right place.
I have to echo that. I get asked this question a lot when I'm talking to candidates, like, what do you like working there? And I always say it that Ford family, it's not like it's real. Like that family feel is a thing here at Ford, and I've felt that like you since the day I started. So I'm glad
Yeah,
I'm not the
exactly.
only one feeling that. Like we're both
No.
there. Cool. Najina, what about you? What's your favorite part about working here at Ford?
Hands down, the people. The 20 years I've been here at Ford Motor Company, I have met some amazing people. I've learned some amazing stories. I've learned new recipes. I've learned some travel tidbits. So not only, I think, as Jasmine said, we get work done, but just culturally, I've learned so much more I can do, things that I can grow, things that help me out, as long as giving back to those same people. I enjoy waking up, talking to my team members, talking to my coworkers, across the way virtually. I can't wait till we can get back in person. But yeah, definitely hands down the people at Ford Motor Company and the suppliers that support us.
And we didn't touch on this yet, but one of the things that we have here at Ford that I think really helps that is we have really strong employee resource groups. And we have a group called our FARA, Ford Employee Recreation Association, which allows us to form bonds outside of our work groups. So I know I'm a member of a FARA group of other triathletes that I've actually knew people through my FARA organization before I ended up working with them. And then I'd see a meeting notice and I'm like, I know that person. I swim with them on the weekends. And that family feel just reiterates itself in these examples. But I think those employee resource groups and those FARA organizations is just another way that we have that familial bond out, like you all are saying, like we care about each other outside of just our transactional work. We care about how was your weekend, how is your family. So I definitely have to agree with the two of you so far. And Melinda, I want to hear your favorite part of working here, because you can say it's because it feels like a family and the people are great, or if you have another reason too, like, that'd
I
be
know. So
wonderful.
I was thinking about people, I was thinking about family. Those two are already taken. What's the third pillar? I think the third one, and another important one, is um, corporate social responsibility, if you will. Meaning, just great example was when this pandemic happened. Mr. Ford, called the president and said, "How can we help?" And Sam, you probably know, I was part of that project, also Project Apollo, where we helped design ventilators. I always say that we designed it, very proud of it, but I hope no one has to use it in their lives. But we delivered 50,000 ventilators in 3.5 months worth of time. Just literally 3.5 months. We started from scratch and we delivered that project for this nation, right? So that was a very genuine, great gesture from Ford. When I mean, it feels me really great to be part of that team. Um, and that's something that actually motivates me a whole lot, apart from my day-to-day job, which is very exciting also. But this corporate responsibility, social responsibility, people, and the family nature that we have, small big company but small family, if you will, right? So similar examples, all my team members know my kids name, if you will. They know what their events are. I know where what their dogs are doing, if they have any trouble, things like that. So it matters a lot. It builds that great bond that will help come together and come up with a good solution, quick solution to the problems that you have otherwise at work. So we go there together to solve those problems, so which is really helpful and really great aspect of this family company, if you will.
Melinda, I know I've told you this before, but I think it's so amazing that you were part of that Project Apollo and those efforts that this company was able to do to help our country when we needed it. So I wanted to personally thank you again
Oh,
for the work that you did for Project Apollo. I think that's wonderful, and thank you for sharing that with this
was a
audience
great
too.
honor. Yeah, great honor to contribute. Small thing there. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we've got a couple minutes left. And I know to the panel, I'll be honest with you, I didn't prepare you for one more question, but I do have one more question. So like pop quiz time here. What was the biggest deciding factor for you in deciding to come work at Ford Motor Company? I'll answer this first because I know I want to give you a little time to think because I didn't prepare you for this one. For me, and this is the most HR answer you can get, it was because I saw that this company would care about me as a person when what they were telling me they cared when they were saying we care about you as a person, and then I looked at what my benefits were, and my benefits showed me that this company wants you to be a happy, healthy person and not just a productive employee. Of course, we're all productive employees, but the way that this company cares about us, the way that we're encouraged to take care of ourselves, to care for our families, to the way that we're supported if there are life circumstances that happen to us that we need to take care of. And I think that my experience has been my people leaders have lived that out. When I was ill, when my family was ill, I was encouraged to take care of them. When I had to have, when I had a medical event, I was told take the time that you need. When I've got things going on, told, the work will be here when you're ready for it. That just has made me feel that this was the best decision I could have made. This is a company that wants me to be a happy, healthy person, because they understand that happy, healthy people are happy, healthy employees. But you have to be a happy, healthy person first. And I really felt that during my interview process, during my onboarding experience. And it's just been reiterated every day that I've been here. So, oh, good. Who do I get to call on first to answer this? Najina, you're smiling. Do you want to answer first?
Absolutely. Well, I will say this. Growing up, I grew up not too far from what we call the Glass House or World Headquarters. So as a kid, thinking about the big companies and the heritage, I always saw Ford Motor Company. I had family and friends that worked there. So when the opportunity came for me to interview, I was super excited, and I jumped at the opportunity and just like, man, this is it. This is gonna happen. So, yes, the family history. I did working at Ford, got a chance to meet Bill Ford and his wife, and just the essence of what that family carries has been a great experience for me. So,
It's funny you say that because I grew up with parents who both worked in automotive, and I always said, "There's no way I'm ever gonna work in automotive. You're engineers. I'm a business person. I'm not gonna work in automotive." And look where I am, happy as a clam, working in automotive. So it's funny how the world works out sometimes, right? Jasmine, what about you? What was your deciding factor?
Just to reiterate what you were saying, honestly, what aligned with me was the four truths. I like to work for and with companies that our morals aligned. So when I was getting interviewed and me and the interviewers were talking, it was just a connection right off back. And when I after the fact, I looked into it and I was like, oh look at the four truths. Look at what this company stands for. And when I was actually able to, start the internship and I was able to automatically feel the culture and feel that they really do stand for what they advertise, which are, the four truths. So, like you were saying, I've worked for a lot of companies, especially undergrad, and a lot of companies do work on the basis of, your health is second. We need you to produce, produce, produce. But Ford is so different in the fact that, you're sick. We're still going through a pandemic. You need a mental health day. I hope you're fine. They know that work is going to get done. But like you said, if you're not happy, if you're not healthy, there's no way that you can get things done or this is going to work. So just seeing that the culture and what they believed in, the company overall aligned with my morals, it was a no-brainer to be with this company.
I'm so glad you had that positive experience. It sounds like we had a very similar
Yeah.
process. So that's really great to hear that this is universally happening.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Melinda, you want to wrap this up for us? What was your deciding factor?
I will. Okay, so I'm a hardcore engineer, right? So when I started, the motivation was come here and work in, auto industry and engines, things like that. But I think as I grew up in the company, all the things that you ladies just mentioned, that started, to be more dominant factor in why do I want to continue with this company? Great work-life balance, people caring for you, and truly what's on the website, literally the mission and the objectives, we do that every day, right? When we say we are an ethical company, when we give equal opportunity to people, we truly do that. And that's the best thing I find, that it's very true to its values. And I think that is the reason I think I will continue with Ford Motor Company ever. I'll bleed blue, as we say, right?
Gonna retire from Ford, it sounds like, Melinda.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much to the three of you for being here, for being a part of this panel. This was such a fun discussion. I'm always excited to talk with other small school graduates who understand what it's like to be in a class with 4 or 12 people sometimes and don't know what it's like to be in a lecture hall full of 5,000 people, because that just seems so overwhelming to me. I don't know how I would have processed that. Thank you again so much. I saw a couple questions come through about internships, so I'll reiterate again. Our internship and new graduate opportunities are usually posted in September, so please come back and visit careers.ford.com around that time frame to explore the internship and full-time opportunities that we have for new graduates. You can always go to careers.ford.com and see what we have available at any time. That's just usually a time frame where we do post a large majority of them. So thank you again to Melinda, to Najina, to Jasmine for being a part of our panel discussion today. It was a pleasure to speak with the three of you. Thank you for all of you who attended. I hope you learned something about Ford. I hope you have a better understanding of our culture and what it's like to be a member of the Ford family. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.